Good evening and welcome to the Bold East Africa. Across Africa, we often celebrate innovation through headlines, funding announcements, and breakthrough technology. But behind every successful technology company is something less visible and often more important: execution. Our guest today represents a new generation of African technology leaders who are not only building software, but also building systems that solve real institutional and business challenges. Fresh out of university, he led a team that spent 30 intense days building the first version of what would become Judic AI, an AI powered court digitization and management platform. That project evolved into Devon Technologies, a company he now leads as Chief Executive Officer. Please join me in welcoming Bemshima Peter, CEO of Devon Technologies. Bemshima, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Let's just dive straight into it. Many people see successful CEOs at the point where the company is already growing, but your story began with a single contract project shortly after university. Can you take us back to that moment? How did a 30-day project become the foundation of a technology company serving courts and businesses across Nigeria?
Thank you so much, Nicole. And once again, good evening to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Now, while I am the CEO, I am not the founder of Devon. So I'm saying this because it leads back to my story. After college, what a job, I was working in health and edutech, building products within that space. And then toward the end of 2024, what listed out to build a product that solved this particular problem with a very, very steep timeline. And the implications of not delivering was enormous, right? So I assembled the current team I have, right? We were in an apartment for 30 days. And in that 30 days, we had
Yeah.
to retest, validate, and build the first version, the very first version of GPI. It was it was the MVP of it. If you know software, MVPs are things that are the happiest versions of your products, right? But then that's why it's an MVP. So
Yeah.
the problem we were trying to solve was the problem of depth. We like to refer to it. It was the problem of depth, not the problem of size. When we brought the products out into the actual use case, if not, the first trial we had flopped. It was terrible. The recordings were noisy, the transcripts were erroneous, but that also sets the pace of how we iterated over it. We went to the court for 3 consecutive weeks. And in those 3 weeks, that was when we refined the product to meet the expectation of the court, not what we had in mind. So new trade-offs were made, new technical decisions were made that even allowed the product serve the current user. And due to the success of that project, my current board chairman and the entire board of Devon Technologies built the company Devon to sustain our products and as well extend our work to other industries.
What was some of the biggest lessons you learned transitioning from engineering to CEO?
Now, early on, I was exposed to books. I mean, from childhood, right? I was exposed to leadership books. So I kind of had an early start to seeing what leadership could look like, right? Now, when I assumed leadership of Devon, the first problem I had was being able to differentiate technical responsibilities from leadership responsibilities, right? And it took a bit. I'm an engineer by design. It means I want to do things before considering other factors, right? So yes,
Yeah.
it was an interesting one, but lessons. So I would say what has helped in the transitioning is one, heavy retrospection, right? So things have to be checked. Metrics have to be set for certain processes. And before you execute on those things, you need to define those metrics, those successes. Then another is ability to actually delegate, not just delegate. Empower first, then delegate. So what I mean by empowering is you've, to a good extent, figured out what needs to be done for that particular task you're delegating. Again, provide the metrics that define success in that task you're delegating before you delegate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
So
does.
a combination of defining success, retrospection, and delegation has truly helped in moving me out. Not completely, I'm still an engineer, I still write code a lot. But moving me from engineering to assuming the role of leadership also.
Let's talk about Judic AI, the building of it. Judic AI is one of the most fascinating applications of AI in Africa because it addresses a traditionally paper-heavy and highly regulated environment. What exactly is Judic AI and what problem is it solving?
I would like to start from a point of problem. And I'm consciously doing that again to say that in our continent and in our country, the beauty of a product is not enough. You need a combination of a good product, you need good marketing, and you need good distribution. So while the product is making impact, it also needs to have return on investment. So yes, the product is good. The person that's going to use the product needs to see the relevance of the product, not that you think is good. They need to see it, the relevance of it to distribution. Yes, the person you show the product may like the product and see the benefits of it, but if the person doesn't have the decision-making power, then you haven't done anything yet. So a good product, a good marketing, and a good distribution, so that the people that can actually take action on this product or take action to use this product can then take the actions that needs to be taken. So the lesson is the mindset shift from just thinking that success of a company or success of a product depends on the product's usability. That's my biggest lesson.
There is enormous excitement around AI, we all know that, but there's also growing concern around privacy, governance, and trust. Devon Technologies holds an extra high level classification with the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. So, how has that shaped your approach to building AI products responsibly?
Thank you so much for that, Nicole.
Yeah.
Now, an extra high data processor means that we generally process data in the hundreds of thousands. So the audit taught us to prioritize the sensitivity of user data first. Now, I haven't even talked about artificial intelligence because, again, that thrives on data. So first, our audit taught us to learn the importance of data, to understand the importance of data, one. Two, how to quickly mitigate risks, implications to this data, what to do, how to address them, and the rest of that. But most importantly, how to structure this data that would then be used to train artificial intelligence models or use them for whatever use case they have. So structured, clean, secured data that will be used to power artificial intelligence models, which can then be used in different solutions across the board.
Beyond Judic AI, Devon Technologies is building Mid-Session, an AI-powered platform that records, transcribes, and structures meeting records. What inspired that product, and what workplace inefficiencies were you trying to solve?
Now, when we launched AI, Judic AI is primarily for judges. So when lawyers come to court and they see what the judge is using, they like the tool, they like what it does, but they can't use it because they are not judges. We had to build something that allows the everyday man, you, myself, a lawyer, anybody that engages in things like meetings, lectures, conferences, a handy tool to record those meetings, transcribe, and have it organized for themselves.
So how do you see AI transforming professional productivity over the next decade?
Productivity first. In maybe last decade, artificial intelligence has been that thing that has really transformed the way we work. Now, I would bring it to the context of software engineering, for example.
Okay.
Before, I had a good idea. For you to implement that good idea, it takes weeks, it takes months, it takes you to sacrifice certain things. For example, we had to build GPI. We built that by spending 30 days away from the outside world just to get it done, right?
Yeah.
But these tools, you can quickly get started at the things you need to do. So it means that our expectations move from minor tasks. I like to call them architectures. So as a software engineer, your responsibility isn't to write code. Your responsibility is to architect solutions for your use case. So productivity is going to increase. More output will be churned out. Tools will help add productivity. So yes, within the next decade, AI tools will get better. Productivity will also get better.
Africa is often described as the next frontier of innovation, and that's what you're doing. From your perspective, what opportunities are still being overlooked by founders and investors out there?
For founders or executive leaders and technical leaders, one of the biggest pain points that Africa had was ability to transact financially across countries. And I could hardly say that that has been stabilized to a very good extent. Right. So it means the core for innovation has been solved to a good extent. What do I mean by core? I can build a solution for the Kenyan market, or I could build a solution for the Nigerian market that solves the Nigerian problem, and customize or modify that product to also solve the Kenyan market, because we're Africans. There's a tendency that the challenges we are facing in Nigeria could also be challenges that we face in Kenya. Right.
Yeah, and you have also spoken about creating opportunities for talented individuals to unlock their potential. I commend you for that. What qualities matter most to you beyond technical competence?
Disposition to work. Now, I say that because, again, as at then, the technical skills used to be part of the heavy criteria. But if you have somebody that is focused, knows exactly what they're trying to achieve, and can buy into the company's vision, then building competence for that person is easy. Having that person trained to get the skill set they need is easy. Now, I'm able to do this because I have a well-structured team
Okay.
of very highly skilled individuals. So
Yeah.
I'm able to completely delegate out certain responsibilities or adopt somebody that's coming in and have that person work with the team. That's because I know structure is on ground, culture is on ground.
I think I have one question for Peter.
Okay, Nathan.
There's this growing comparison that's being made today between the AI boom and the dot-com era. So when you see during the dot-com era, there was that massive hype, the rapid investment, and eventually market correction that still reshaped the global tech landscape that we have right now. So do you think the current AI, or is it fundamentally different from the dot-com era?
Mhm. Now, one thing that always happens is history repeats itself, right? And that comes, I'll narrow it down to technology again, the current space we're in. When products have not, when products don't get market fit. And what I mean by market fit, I mean there's somebody that is willing to pay the amount of money you've priced for that product because they see consistent value using that product. If a company and a product hasn't achieved that, then no matter how fast it's blown, that gap will be exposed.
Yeah.
If that now happens at an exponential rate when bubble goes out.
Yeah.
So while we are at that state, my particular stand is you don't scale until you solve the problem. Like you don't have a conversation of scaling anything until you have solved the problem. Scaling in itself is a problem. So you solve the problem first. You ensure the product meets its market needs first. Or you build a system around your solution that will sustain and scale the solution. You don't do it the other way around. So if you try to scale what's solving the problem, that's one. Solve the problem first before scaling. Or else history will just repeat itself.
Yeah.
And then the last question that I had, currently there's this wave of layoffs globally, especially across big tech, and companies are citing automation, AI, and efficiency as key drivers. So what's your take on that?
I've seen that as much as these two churn out work fast, no doubt, they produce results fast. The results that they produce are not of good quality. Now, I can please say this because I use these things to build the work that I do. Now, some of the code that these things generate, they are very low. The quality of the code is something you equate to a very junior developer. Does that make sense? So imagine a process is supposed to take 5 steps.
Yeah.
A tool can use and generate 10 steps to solve that problem, right? 10 steps just to solve something that could take 5 steps. Now, the problem with generating 10 steps is a 10 step has loopholes. Now, if you also look at it, most of the tools or most of the platforms that are currently being hacked easily were via coded. So, while that is happening, I'm speaking from my reality. I cannot lay off my engineers and say, oh, I have an AI tool that can write Flutter, or I have an AI tool that can write mobile. It's very detrimental. I'm trading off an experienced engineer for something that can produce results fast for me. No, for me, that's a wrong approach to it. Why? Yes, you produce tools that are fast. Yes, you produce tools that, yes, you try to work fast. Yes, you build solutions fast. But you build vulnerable solutions, which again doesn't solve the main problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, and you can also, you start seeing trends. There's some news that Microsoft itself had stopped their employees from using cloud. But then if you fast forward 3 months ago, you're like, these were the same person that had wanted all their engineers to use cloud. So there's something going on behind the scenes that one needs to pay attention. And I'm using my own use case. For my use case, my entire team uses AI to build, and I also use AI to build. But I can tell you that the quality of work, quality of code that comes out from these things are junior level. And if you're in sensitive environments like the legal industry, in fact, it doesn't need to be sensitive. As far as you're building solutions that people depend on, you cannot compromise on those qualities.
Yeah.
So while that is happening, there's still something going on. That the AI that everybody has been shouting would replace a lot of people also needs to be watched because the quality of what's being produced is low. You are a human being. Retain your mental judgment.
I appreciate that question. Okay, so before we close, I want to ask a question about legacy. I want to know what impact do you have or do you hope your work will have on institutions, businesses, and everyday Africans?
So even while I was in college, while I was learning technology, how to use tech, how to build products and the rest of it, one of my principles had been, if it is not going to serve things, I consider it a waste of time. Okay. Now, that's personally my own application I ever built. Very first, typically, application people will build would be, I don't know, a game or a a website, I don't know, something like that. The first application I ever built was to solve this problem. Now, there's a tendency that when you meet somebody, wherever you meet that person, you will probably see that person's name with the location you meet that person at.
Okay.
Right? There's a very high tendency that you meet somebody at a conference, you would say the person's full name and try to put something that will mentally jog you whenever you're looking for that number. Okay, I met him at FCT, I met him at Lagos, I met him in Kenya, I met him somewhere. Something to help you jog your memory. So the first product I ever built was to solve that problem. So you get to keep people's name the way they are, but organize it into rememberable structures, just like how the brain works, right? So that was what the problems I solved, what the product I built. Now I bring that as an example because the works that I've done has always been guided by, is this thing actually being used? Is it solving a problem? When this phone is pulled out, will the people using it, will they feel like something has been pulled out from them? Will they feel the impact of it? So my legacy, or the legacy I will hope to build, or I hope to build, is that the little problems that I build solutions to solve, every single time somebody uses those solutions to solve whatever problem it is built for, it is a little bit of satisfaction they get. That's, oh, I've actually built something that helps this person directly. So it could be saving a life. It could be helping them with their finances. It could be helping them educationally. The ultimate goal is how much of the work you do, how much of the person's has it impact.
Thank you, Peter. You are really an inspiration to the tech world. To everyone listening, this was The Bold East Africa. See you next time.